certain shit that could help and aid the investigation. Now, that proffer session, they usually call it Queen for a day, because usually whatever you say in that proffer session will not be used. Even if you say, yeah, I did get that gun up, they won't use any of your statements against you. Okay? By the way, this is a written, signed document. You probably won't find a proffer in open court or even public available. It's usually not filed. It's usually sealed or some shit. Anyway, here's the point. Remember, he's the last dude that was in the car. He basically gets hemmed up on other charges. They say, hey, listen, man. Yo, we kind of know that, you know, you were in this car, blah, blah, for the Tupac thing. We're not really looking at that. We want to get these other guys, blah, blah, blah. He basically admits to the whole, like, his part in the Tupac murder. And I think he thought that meant immunity. Now, the difference between a proffer and immunity is that if you sign an immunity deal, like people thought that Kelsey signed in the Tory Lanez case, an immunity deal means that you can never be charged on those charges for that said crime. Okay? Ever again. Even if there's more evidence that comes out, they can't hit you with that charge. They rarely give that out, but sometimes they'll give it out to usually cooperatives that's really extended themselves. But regardless, this guy didn't get an immunity deal, right? He got a proffer agreement, which means for one day, for that one session, and actually it could last more than one day, for that one session, whatever he told the police, which was going to help them solve some other crimes, could not be used to prosecute him, right? Okay, so that's where there's an audio tape, and you're going to hear it later. There's an audio tape of this guy actually admitting to what went on of Tupac. Now, here is why, and this is how it gets interesting. And by the way, the U.S. attorney comes in, so like the FBI comes in. So, you know, that was the LA case, that would be the hell, and been where the webs might connect. By the way, also you gotta remember East Coast, West Coast, before that type of stuff. They get to talk to this guy who leads them down a rabbit hole, and they actually lead him to basically give up the people who are associated, who may have taken steps to have Pac killed and do some other crimes. So, for example, the person who gave him the gun. Okay, so you're gonna hear certain names come up, and I don't know if they're gonna properly identify these people. I'm hoping to give you the identity of them now. That this is gonna make sense, because if obviously I know a lot of y'all watch this whole shit, so like you probably already know all the characters. Some of y'all might not. Okay. So, as the story goes, apparently he got a gun from a guy named Bonson, okay, or somewhere, right? Like a midnight, and other people who, when the feds came in, they were probably looking at a lot of conspiracy charges they could have got. Again, the unfortunate part about it is that everybody's dead. So, like, everybody's dead. I mean, the only person alive that's right now disconnected from this whole situation. Okay? So, let me try to break this down, and I'm gonna have to do it with interviews and all of this shit. Okay, I know I'm confusing somebody. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to make this very simple, fam. Right? Once again, Tupac is raising hell. He's beefing with niggas. He's violating people. It's an East Coast, West Coast thing that's brewing. Okay? He's constantly dissing the East Coast. Allegedly, maybe, I don't know, somebody on the East Coast puts a bounty on his head, making $1 million. That number is flowing. That number gets communicated to certain people. That number eventually does get to someone like Heavy D through a middleman, possibly that Bonzip dude. Okay? Now, ironically, and this is like the big irony. It's either irony or it's a whole conspiracy and plot. Tupac goes to Vegas, beats up the son, or not the son, beats up the cousin of the guy who knows that there's a hit out on Tupac. You know what I mean? So it's like you already have an incentive to try to do something to him because you're hearing about this $1 million hit. But then when your nephew comes to you and says, yo, I just got beat up by Tupac, oh, let's go get that nigga. You know what I mean? So that's the working theory. I believe the police are kind of going with. Regardless, I'm gonna try to highlight a picture to make you understand. I think the cops here are after a bigger fish, but I don't know if they'll catch him. Okay? The cops, I believe, this arrest is a domino to get after a big fish. Okay? This guy's the last living person that could connect someone to even any type of hate, bounty, conspiracy, any of that. And I think he gets locked up. They're hoping that he'll possibly flip for lesser charges or something of the sort. Okay? Now, granted, he might not have even any information to really help him with, and maybe he's just gonna fuck it, we're just gonna close the case because he's the last person alive. Right? But there's a lot of theories of why this happened. Now, keep in mind, the Keefy D dude, remember I told you he got caught up in charges in LA? He did a proffer session, and everything he said in the proffer session, he wrote it in a book. And then he went on interviews to say, the proffer session only says that particular interview can't be used. Anything subsequent will always be used. He's been snitching on himself literally 5 years straight. There's more videotapes on this nigga. I mean, like, I don't even know what. So, they're gonna pick this guy up at any time. They just chose to pick him up now. And, yeah. Okay. I think that's about. That's what. Okay. So let me get some of the things to try to make you guys understand. First and foremost, by the way, we're gonna use a lot of Vlad TV videos. And Vlad, I love you and thank you for your diligent services in fucking help cracking and solving this case, whether you knew it or not. I think you did know it. But here's the thing, and by the way, let me just speak on this shit. So, here we go. So now you kind of understand a little bit of premise. Let's now play a bit of what the guy from his own words said. And maybe I should show you. Actually, no. I know I should do. My bad. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained. And by the way, I know sometimes you act like we're dumb. Yeah, well, sometimes I'm remedial myself. I be thinking like, if I was not me, would I understand what the fuck I'm doing? Okay, let me go to Long Crimes. So what I'm gonna do is, before I get to his interviews, I'm gonna go to Long Crimes. They did a whole press conference today. So where's that videos? The Lost. Okay, yeah, they did a whole press conference. I'm gonna have y'all listen to the press conference. It's gonna break down certain details. Then we're gonna get to the interviews about specific details. Then we're gonna kind of break down the conspiracy. Okay, we're gonna kind of find out some new characters. We're gonna go down some rabbit holes. Okay, so by the way, just buckle in for a little bit. Okay, here we go.
My name is Kevin McMahill. I'm the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. 27 years. 27 years. For 27 years, the family of Tupac Shakur has been waiting for justice. We are here today to announce the arrest of 60-year-old Dwayne Keith Davis, aka Keefy D, for the murder of Tupac Shakur. Davis was arrested this morning by my LVMPD criminal apprehension team, and this investigation started on the night of September 7th, 1996. It is far from over. It has taken countless hours, really decades, of work by the men and women of our homicide section. Several of those detectives that are standing here with tired for this police department. I'm here. Our goal at LVMPD has always been to hold those accountable and responsible for Tupac's violent murder accountable. Just like we do for every homicide, remains a problem.
Let me skip a little bit because I don't want to bore people, but I'll describe all the things that they're
feud with the Southside Compton Crips. On the night of September 7th of 1996, Tupac Shakur, along with Suge Knight, and members of their entourage, which include members of Mob Piru, came to Vegas to attend the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Members of the Southside Compton Crips, which included Dwayne Davis, along with his nephew, Orlando Anderson, were also in attendance at the same event. As both were leaving the fight, members of Death Row Records spotted Orlando Anderson near an elevator bank inside the MGM, and at that time they began to kick and punch him near that elevator.
By the way, again, y'all tell me how deep y'all want to get into this. By the way, I mean, obviously I would not want Pac to die, but if we was around when the time when Pac got killed, we would have broke this shit down like fucking a pound of weed, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, even this part, right? Why the fuck did Tupac jump the dude, right? Because Tupac attacked him. The dude allegedly took a chain or robbed a chain from one of Tupac's niggas, and that's a whole story in itself that you could go down like a whole different arc on, but we're gonna stick to Pac.
Elevator bank. I will now show you hotel security footage, as many of you have already seen, related.
Am I panning? I'm panning, right? Okay, my bad. Sorry. Good. I bet. Sorry.
To this incident. And on this incident, you will see Tupac Shakur punching and kicking Orlando Anderson. Following this incident, you'll see.
Okay. By the way, keep in mind of like the certain details. This is it's in military time, so this is 8:50. Is this 8:50? Is this time correct? Because I'm thinking it's after the fight. Ain't fight's late.
Little did anyone know that it is this incident right here that would ultimately lead to the retaliatory shooting and death of Tupac Shakur. Following this incident, Tupac and Suge Knight occur at a local nightclub. At the same time, word had spread amongst members of the Southside Compton Crips of what had occurred inside the MGM, and then obtain a firearm and retaliate against Suge Knight and Mr. Shakur for what occurred inside the hotel against Mr. Anderson. After Davis obtained a gun, he entered into a white Cadillac along with Terrence Brown.
By the way, I know y'all hate when I pause it, but again, these are all different little branches that we have to like possibly investigate, depending on how bored y'all get. Because I could take 5 hours on this shit. There was a whole process, and remember the whole thing I was telling you about the conspiracy and the hit and blah blah. The obtaining of the gun that eventually gets used for the murder connects or leads down a path of maybe there was a bigger plot than just we're just gonna kill. You know what I mean? Because it brings other people into it. So how we obtain the gun brings other people into it, which connects to a bigger conspiracy. We're gonna get to that, but let me just let him speak.
DeAndre Smith and Orlando Anderson. Based on our investigation, this is where we know they were seated.
Actually, I got to make something on my screen too. So, the driver was Terrence T. Brown. Then you had DeAndre Dre Smith, and then on the right side you had Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, and you had Orlando Baby Lane. The one who got arrested is the one in the front seat. Now in custody, he went on multiple interviews and damn near bragged that he's the one who passed the gun to this guy to do the killing. Sorry, shit.
Systematic investigative plan over the corroborated numerous facts that were not only a sequence of events that night in Henderson, Nevada. And following the execution of that search warrant, in close coordination with the District Attorney's Office, this case was presented to the grand jury, handed off to the District Attorney's Office. Detectives that were not only assigned this case and reviewed this case, but all the other detectives from other agencies that assisted us in this investigation. They know who they are, and thank you very much for all the assistance you provided. It does not. We need to make this be a reminder that the charge of murder does not have a statute of limitations. This agency has been and is invested in solving our cold case homicides.
Okay, let me skip a little bit.
Davis will appear in court in the next few days or so.
Okay.
Retired
Again, we don't have to listen to every word. I'm going to summarize a lot for y'all. Okay, So first things first. So the guy's in custody. They kind of gave you some details about what happened on that night, that fateful night in September of 1996. Here's also the interesting thing, okay? If you're now, which by the way, apparently this guy used to sell drugs and all that type of shit. This guy's a gang member, right? Obviously that stopped or dried up over time, right? Because he would have been locked up. And by the way, he did get locked up for drugs too. That's one of the reasons he was caught in some bond in LA, right? So recently, his thing has been getting paid for interviews. So everybody wants to hear the same story about Pac. He's been telling the same story about how he was in the car, this and third, and because he never got arrested, and also him falsely thinking the proffer agreement that I've talked to y'all about before still remained. And this is the thing about just how dumb niggas is. I ain't gonna hold you. Chat, think about this, okay? This, even though the FBI, Las Vegas PD, certain shit about what happened in Las Vegas to get out of the LA shit, go back to the jurisdiction of where you know and you're still bragging about committing or being in the car when a murder was committed. Like, think about this. If you killed Tupac or run a search warrant on your house 27 years later, like, come on. Like, it doesn't, bruh, down. Brother, nigga, you should be in Florida somewhere. Like, nigga, how are you still down the street from where the murder happened? Do you know what I mean? How the hell are you still there? So, that's already the stupid thing. The second stupid thing is this. Brother, even if you mistook a proffer agreement, which is Queen for a day, versus unilateral immunity, first and foremost, that happened in LA. So you got that in LA. The murder happened in Las Vegas. LAPD or LA County can't protect you from the crime you did in Vegas. Secondly, even if you thought, even if whatever reason you thought that you had some type of protection, or you thought the proffer deal was gonna stand, you do know other crimes that might be associated with it you could be charged for. And again, I'm just trying to give y'all some definitions that we understand why he's getting locked up. He did a proffer agreement. He told on himself there, but that can't count. Then he told his story on Vlad TV 50 times and a bunch of other places 2 million times. Everybody knows, hoping that him the self-interest of another, please stop talking about it. Later, the feds arrest him as they're looking towards okay, cool. So secret, so pretty much what happened is they're probably in the grand jury about this shit. Okay, so they're probably grand jury in this case for pretty much, I think, the last ditch effort of the cops to try to get a murder weapon or even bullets or spent shells or anything that could connect to the murder that could make sure this guy gets indicted, right? I don't know what they found at the house. Apparently they didn't find no gun. They didn't find no spent shells that really matched that particular gun that was used, that fired the fatal bullet. But still, they still got an indictment. So the indictment's here and the nigga's locked up. Cool. Alright. So we covered that. Now let's go to Keefy D. Mr. Tell It All. Okay? Let's hear what he got to say about this whole thing. And this is 5 years ago. Okay?
Well, let's talk about what happens next. Based on what the book says, Zip.
By the way, give me 1 second. I want to y'all want to know self-snitching 101? I gotta show you this. I gotta show you this. This is hilarious. I gotta find this interview. Is it this interview? I think it's this interview. Yep, it is this interview. Keefy D. I need the full interview. Glad I know you got it. Here we go. So I think this is the first interview.
And first thing I hit the yard. Basically, it was protection, really.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you again. I'm trying to be very methodical as I'm doing this. The first thing I'm going to show you is the definition of why niggas need to stop hating on stitches because they snitch on themselves. Everybody around the orbit of the murder, you're gonna see another name that's gonna. You know what I mean?
And you know what you look
Side by
at
side.
side by side. So how would you even see Tupac reach for anything if you're driving behind him?
You wasn't driving by, I tell you, side by side at the light.
So what happens next?
And we just came.
Okay. So chat, this is the funny part about it. Give me 1 second, chat. I know, listen. Let's have some patience with me tonight. I'm gonna make sure I get this whole thing good. Okay. So remember, Vlad gets this guy in. This is like years ago. This wasn't 2 years. This is like years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Look how Vlad gets this nigga to start snitching on himself. Look how Vlad does it.
Shit. I ain't gonna go into details like that. You know.
Classic street nigga shit. Hey, I ain't gonna go into details like that because I'm a real street nigga. Here we go.
Man. But you know, you got it in a book. It was a dude from Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and also you had C-Ray, which
Yeah.
that was one of your salesmen, basically.
Yeah, one of my captains.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk about what happens next. You know, based on what the book says, Zip gave you a Glock, gave you gun.
Okay, remember those names. Zip. So I'm giving out some other names. This is Keith D. There's a guy named Zip. Orlando Anderson, aka Baby Lane, is the dude that gets beat up. That's his nephew. And that's the guy supposedly pulled the trigger. Zip is the guy who gave the gun. Okay? Zip is the middleman to the big fish. We're gonna get to it.
Guy's a Glock, and you guys tossed him in the back seat. And Bubble Up was the driver, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat.
We was just all in the car, dude.
So, remember, this is the first time Vlad interviewed this nigga. This is how street niggas are. Vlad did his research so good. Vlad is telling him where people is in the car. You know why? Because he already snitched other places, just nobody put it together. So Vlad is saying, that person's in the driver's seat, you're here, there's 2 niggas in the back. And Vlad is surprising this guy with the story. You know what the guy said? Let's just say we in the car, because he's trying to be street and not give the info up.
This was the white Cadillac.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
By the way, I seen somebody just mention, somebody said Zip was a gangster dude out of New York. That's where the story gets deep. Why is there a New York nigga connected to this whole thing? And also keep in mind there's a whole beef between Coast, allegedly. Here we go.
No, we coming up, what's the name? Was that Flamingo? Yeah, that's Flamingo. Storm Flamingo. Got to the light. Just we go drink, smoke some weed, and he happened to be hanging out the window. So he like he was in the parade.
Tupac.
Tupac was
So what happens next?
And we just came. I ain't gonna go into details like that.
Why
You know
not?
what I'm saying?
Why not?
But, you know, you got it in a book. You played it, everything else, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, in the book, you said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Shook driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a gun.
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually see a gun?
Oh, shit. Once he got the reaching, I got the ducking.
So someone from your car
That's what I said.
started shooting at Tupac.
Okay, so let me pause this right here. So this is by the way, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is why this thing's so deep, by the way. This audio you're hearing is the LA proffer session that got recorded. By the way, the audio of a proffer session should never come out. Right? This should never be released. But I think people felt like they were at the dead end. I think the detective, who's now retired, by the way, Greg Caden, we're gonna get into him a lot too. Pause. I think he leaked this audio. But again, this is an audio that could never be used against him no matter what he says. But here's also the caveat. He has to tell the truth.
You say Shook looks over, he sees you. He looks right at you. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting shot. Evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out of the
backseat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside that car?
I seen the bullet going Suge head. I thought he was dead.
So Orlando shot him in his head across Dre.
He leaned over and went through the window, pop. They would drove on my side, I was popping. You know what I'm saying? But they was on the other side. Right. I'm not gonna go into the details on that one. Keep it straight, though. I ain't gonna go into the details.
Hilarious! I ain't gonna go into details on that one. I'm gonna have to keep it straight. Nah, this is great. Yo, this is great. I ain't gonna go into details on that one, but I'm gonna keep it straight. Chat, let me then just use his proffer to paint the picture of what's going on, okay? By the way, this is a car. I actually could show y'all the turn, or the intersection where it happened. So this is a white Cadillac here. And Baby Lane is the shooter, right? Who's the guy in the back right. But the car they're shooting at with Pac is over here. So they're saying he leans over this nigga and then dumps, okay? He dumps out the window because apparently the gun that Von Zippet gave Keefy D, I guess when it came time to do the murder, he threw it in the back and said, all right, one of y'all niggas could do the do, right? Okay, so this is great. So he said he won't say nothing because he's trying to keep it in the street. Perfect. Yo, this is why Vlad is devious. This nigga said, I ain't gonna say nothing about this. I'm gonna keep it in the street. You wanna hear what Vlad says? I'm gonna read from the book, nigga.
Well,
So
let him buy the book then.
okay, well, I was gonna read this passage. The shit was on. Tupac made an erratic move and began to reach down beneath his seat. It was the first and only time in my life that I could relate to the police command. Keep your hands where I could see them. Instead, Pac pulled out a strap, and that's when the fireworks started. One of my guys from the back seat grabbed the Glock and started busting back. The first shot skinned Shook in the head, and I thought that motherfucker was dead. I had heard some stories, supposedly that Shook used Tupac as a shield when the bullets started flying, but that's some bullshit. Shook was already wounded, and he was the one that got touched. As the rounds continued flying, I ducked down so I wouldn't get hit.
Basically, yeah.
White Cadillac. Arm came out.
Okay, also, that last part is important because, remember, they see the car, apparently, I also gotta paint the picture, it's a bunch of cars that was in a motorcade damn near. They pull up on it, Pac's window is down, the dude sees him, he leans over, he starts shooting at Tupac, and before they kind of skirt off, there is somebody who returns fire at them. So people did return fire at them, and that's why just brought somebody else into it. That's why Keefy D is saying he ducked down.
Out the back seat. It started letting off.
What went through your head when you saw that?
They shoot my nigga.
So, the bullets started flying. Tupac and Shook's car get all shot up. Was there, and I'd heard different versions of the story, but the one version I heard was that that their entourage started shooting back.
Basically, yeah.
Does anyone from the death row side return fire?
Okay, so this is another key figure in this entire thing. This guy is Reggie Wright Jr. He was head of security. I believe also he may have been worked with law enforcement in some capacity at a point. But so this guy, he's head of security, or was head of security for Death Row Records. All right, Reggie Wright Jr.
Okay. Can you say who that was?
Yeah, he's no longer with us.
his name was Bunch. One of Suge's right-hand guy, our good friend, Alan McDonald. He chased the car down. He also received one gunshot to his vehicle. His car was shot. He had a gun play over Subaru.
Okay, so after they shoot Pac, one of the cars that's in that line, like oh shit, there's shots being fired. They chase after the white Cadillac who tries to get out of there. And there's an individual, you don't even know him that much right now, but Buntree, that's his name, he fired back. So he's a nigga like, yo, like again, you're gonna realize how some of these stories mirror other stories later on. Like, this kind of is almost like the King Von situation, you know what I mean? But anyway, like a fight turned into something else, and then, anyway. So yeah, Buntree shot at the dudes. From what we know, nobody got shot, but that white Cadillac got out of there.
And him and another guy, returned shots at that car. Yeah, they said they left their guns at home, bro. Started shooting back. Yeah, some chicks was in the sea breeze, started following a white sea breeze, a red top sea breeze.
Why were the girls following you guys?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's crazy.
In the midst of this, remember Tupac's is a worldwide superstar. So when they pull up by the light, well, he even says it. He says the only reason, because they were looking for Tupac, they were driving around looking for Tupac. They seen some women who were like, Tupac, like, so, you know, that's what they're like, oh, there he is type shit, you know what I mean? So there's these women who are also in the midst, who, by the way, ironically, is a group of women that alerted them to Tupac's whereabouts. And I guess, like, after the shots get fired, these same women, like, they're probably also frazzled. They don't know what to do. They said the women were almost kind of following them. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway.
But I guess their window got shot out.
From what you did.
And they stopped following you at that point.
So by the way, I guess, you know, remember, they're getting out of the scene. They just got shot at a couple of times by Suge's right-hand man, Buntree, another guy. But then there's some girls also behind them. So they're probably just trying to get out of there. They're probably shooting back or whatever. A bullet hits the windshield of the girls. They stop following them about that life. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, never mind, you got it.
I've talked to a couple people that were there about the situation, and from what they told me was that, you know, you guys came up, you know, the car that you were in came up behind Tupac's car. You guys didn't, the cars were not facing each other. And, you know, when you look
Side by
side.
You wouldn't drive around. I didn't even side by. No, I wouldn't. Bought a little liquor for us. Pour it down our throat.
I'm gonna read from the book.
Okay.
We made it back to the hotel. We popped our bottles and partied like it was any other night. Of course, someone suggested that we pour out a little for Tupac, which we did. This moment.
Okay, so I think y'all get it, but, you know, try to make this. I think y'all, you know, obviously I know y'all smart, but maybe I'm the stupid one. So, yeah, this is Microsoft Paint, okay? So, at the intersection. Here, car here, and then car here. They pull up here. And I think Pac was here. Suge was here.
Bruh.
There's an intersection here. And I'm trying to get y'all to visually see like what the fuck was going on, okay? I'm gonna come back to the diagram, don't worry about it. Y'all like my mini detectives, you feel me? I gotta put y'all on game. Y'all gonna help me solve this shit. This already solved, but
Darweed, like we had planned to in the first place.
Yeah, well, I just made the movie site, you know. We brought our own liquor for him.
You guys didn't pour out any liquor for Tupac.
I said, you know, yeah, that was a suggestion, but I ain't pour out no liquor for him. That was a suggestion of one of the homies, yeah.
Okay. So, you guys leave Vegas, what, the next day?
Yeah. Up the next day, that Monday.
Well, you said that you guys went and stashed the gun I guess on one of the wheels in the Cadillac. But when you came back, the gun was gone.
Like
You guys drove back
drew cubes.
in that white Cadillac back to LA.
No, I didn't drive
Back to Compton. No.
No, I didn't drive.
Okay, well somebody drove. One of the homies drove the Cadillac. Okay, got it.
Flat ass
Then you guys went and got the Cadillac repainted, I guess.
Yeah, you got to pay the white. Turn it back in.
Okay, and it was a rental.
Yeah.
And you said, you told Baby Lane, don't tell nobody what happened, not even your mama. Don't say a motherfucking thing. If anyone asks what happened, nothing.
Told the whole car. We came back Sunday. That Monday, we was all sitting on in our neighborhood. Reggie Sr., the captain of the Compton Police, comes up.
Okay. Oh yeah, Reggie Senior, the father of the other guy who I showed you. Remember I said that he was the Reggie Junior. He's a police officer.
Running the stop sign. I guess he had just finished debriefing his soldiers at the Compton PD. He run our stop sign on my street, came up, jumped out of his car, like, "Hey, motherfucker,
Bro.
you don't keep me here. You killed my son, motherfucker. It's on." I'm like, "What the fuck is you talking about? Fuck you." And he's like, "I'm just telling you, motherfucker. What's going on?" Like, this motherfucker's stupid. Then 2 hours later, he get our little trap spot raided. Take all our guns, all that shit. So it's basically city and Compton police against Southside. So, but it was some dudes from the Compton.
Okay. Good place to stop this. So he basically kind of gave. It was always ridiculous. By the way, so there was a theory that maybe, again, people were saying that Pac was about to leave death row because, there's a lot of people leaving death row, okay? They felt like Pac was going to leave death row, and they felt like maybe Suge got him killed for that reason. Now, if you think about it with your brain, if you're going to get a motherfucker killed, and you're gonna have him shot up in a drive-by, you're not gonna be sitting next to him, especially you're the fat motherfucker and he's the skinny one. Them bullets miss him, it's in your gut. So again, that theory kind of fell flat.
Theory behind Tupac's murder.
Right.
And that really had us focusing in on the Southside Crips.
Right, because the Suge Knight theory never made any sense to me because you got a guy that's like 3 times the size of Tupac.
Oh, he said the same thing.
Who in their right mind would try to orchestrate a hit on someone while you're in the car?
Sit next to him.
I guess there was bullets all over the car. Like, this was not like a precision sniper or anything of that sort.
Yeah.
It made no sense completely.
Just on
By the way, I see all y'all super chats I'm gonna get to in a little bit. I'm just trying to continue the story. And chat, just to let you know, because I know some people, I see people on Twitch, whatever. Hey, we're probably gonna be talking about this for the next 2 hours. Like, this is at least a 2-hour, really methodical, really get into everything. Our rest of topics we're gonna hit after the 2-hour mark. Trust me, I'm here all night. Don't worry, we here, baby. Okay, y'all just gotta stay up. Okay, drink some coffee. We're gonna be good. But we gonna get through this. Okay, don't rush me. We're gonna get through this.
surface, it's a rather implausible theory.
Yeah. So, once you started actually looking into it, into the whole Southside thing,
Here we go.
Group of them, there was about 10 of them out in the forest.
Okay, again, I'm skipping past that. Y'all can get the relevant parts.
These electronic crimes.
okay. Oh, what kind of wiretap crimes?
Using a
which you said, look up Gene Deal. He was Diddy bodyguard. We're gonna get to that. And I said, man, it's gonna be one.
So you guys just basically showed up at Keith D's house.
That's correct.
Okay, was it you and another officer?
It was me and my partner, Darren Dupree.
Okay. So you just knocked on his door and unannounced.
That's correct. We actually, the garage door was open. He came outside and we encountered him initially right in his driveway.
What was the sort of initial reaction when two cops suddenly show up at your door like that?
I can't speak for him. I mean, Keith D, comes from a long history of criminal activity and
Gang member.
so it wasn't his first rodeo. But I'm sure he was quite curious as to why we were there.
Okay. So when you initially started talking to him, how did you sort of present the information to him?
We sat down in his garage and explained to him that we had been conducting a long-term covert operation, looking at him and others, members of his family even, in a big drug trafficking ring. And once he realized we knew what we were talking about, we were dropping names and talking about events that we witnessed, then he knew.
So if you're following the story, remember, Pac gets killed. These guys are from LA, not from Vegas. They go back to Vegas, or they go back to LA, I mean. Now, Tupac's murder shaking the entire nation. Now, LA police takes an interest in this case because the people they suspect to have killed Tupac already been doing a bunch of crime in the area. Notably, this Keith D dude, who's the shot caller of the whatever South something Crips, he's big in the drug trade. So they basically pull up on him. They pull up to his house and say, yo brother, we know about all the drugs you're smuggling. Okay? Imagine that. Like, imagine somebody just pulled up like, yo, I know about all the illegal shit you're doing. And you think they're bullshit at first, but they're saying everything they know for a fact, which means they got you.
There were some serious problems.
Now, why did you go to his house as opposed to bring him in?
We had, that was our kind of strategic approach, was, we knew that we needed him to talk. And so we wanted to be as cordial initially as we could. We wanted to give him the opportunity to evaluate what we were telling him and to make a decision whether or not he wanted to cooperate. So immediately we advised him, get yourself an attorney, meet us down to the U.S. Attorney's office, and let's talk this out.
Okay. So he went down to church.
That day, we met that afternoon in the United States Attorney's office.
So,
Okay. Before you guys tell me
when you met up with him, was he? Well, when you initially gave him all that information about all the details, was he pretty shaken up, or?
Just kind of see the wheels turning in his head. I think he's a sophisticated, smart guy as far as street crimes go. So he knew that we weren't bullshit, and he had his back up against the wall. So I think for him it was just one of these aha moments.
So he went and met with you. He was in the office.
with an attorney.
And was there a deal that you offered him at that point?
It's not a deal, it's an agreement. It's known as a proffer agreement.
Okay. This is again, remember I said a bunch of these things before, but this is the thing I was talking about. So remember, he killed Tupac, or his cousin, or his nephew killed Tupac when he was in the car. They left Vegas, go back to LA. People are taking interest in that. They pull up on him and say, bro, we know you smuggling hella drugs, dog. Okay? And the way they approach him, they don't approach him with, yo, slap cuffs on you, you're under arrest. They basically let him know about the covert operation they've been going on, and they said, yo, we could discuss it more. He gets a lawyer, they meet at the U.S. Attorney's office, and he's now, basically, this is a part about the proffer that's really important, so listen carefully.
And he's given the opportunity through a
Michelle, you like the Halloween theme? Appreciate you.
agreement between his attorney and the United States attorney to evaluate whether or not it's in his best interest to cooperate. And so that was the arrangement, that he would sit down and tell us everything we wanted to know about anything we asked, and that he had to be entirely truthful, or else he would be charged not only for the drug crimes,
that wasn't started.
Okay, now, by the way, I know I'm helping you guys navigate through this, but I'm not knowledgeable of every single thing, so I'm also learning too. I think they disposed of even charging him, right? Or maybe they gave him some type of, qualified immunity to the drug charges. They were pretty much, it's basically the cops threatening you, saying, hey, listen, if you don't do this, we could arrest you for that, you know what I mean? So again, I don't think he ever gets, maybe he did get charged with it, but let me keep hearing the story fast.
That's correct. We had multiple.
Let me get my powers.
One time we sat down a variety of times on a variety of different topics. But specifically the Tupac and Biggie cases were the ones that we were the most interested in. So we spoke for hours over a long period of time.
Today what we're going to do, we're just going
This is the audio of one of those sessions.
to go over with a fine-tooth comb the Las Vegas incidents. We're going to draft up our report that's regarding that specific thing. And we're going to cover a few other things that we do have to emphasize to you that everything in this report has to be right on, because down the road it's determined some of the details are incorrect.
Bruh.
Everything's off the table.
Fucking God, bruh.
Everything in this report cannot be like that report.
Hey, I'm gonna say this though too. I feel like I said that day, don't bullshit me, I won't bullshit y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Lane starts blasting. You say Shook looks over, he sees you. He looks right at you.
Yeah. Right there, man. I didn't know he got something to say, you know.
When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting shot. Evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out of the way.
Backseat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
Jumping in. I seen a bullet going through the head. I thought he was dead.
By the way, he describes horrifyingly, like, the moments of Pac getting shot, and, like, you gotta remember, I forgot, I think it was maybe 5 times, I forgot how much times he was hit, but Pac is excitedly jumping all over the place, and he's trying to obviously avoid getting shot, but he's the closest person getting shot, you know what I mean, and they're aiming at him.
Thought he was dead.
So Orlando Johnson's been across Dre.
He leaned over and rolled down the window, popped. They would have drove on my side, I would have popped him. You know what I'm saying? But they was on the other side.
The group had gone out to Las Vegas without any intent whatsoever to have any problems. They did not go out there with any specific motivation to hunt down Tupac or to have any encounters with Suge Knight. But just by the nature of the rivalry that was taking place between them, they began to have encounters. There was an encounter between the Southside Crips and Suge Knight and his entourage in the arena prior to the event where Orlando Anderson and Tupac Shakur get into a fight.
In Vegas, there was an encounter.
Correct. Prior to the videotape that we see of Tupac and Orlando Anderson.
Guys, stop wearing those ugly faded earrings. I have to tell you, these amazing earrings I got on Temu. It's incredibly realistic. More importantly, I just bought this for only $1.89 on Temu. It is very simple to wear, just like this. It's so amazing. It's like wearing a real cherry. When under the light, it sparkles and glows. It's cute, stylish, and versatile. Get on Temu. You can also find more exquisite and lovely earrings like these. And it's 90% off. What are you waiting for? Go to Temu and start shopping.
Your podcast is great, but video would make it even better. And Switcher Studio makes that happen. Switcher Studio lets you embed video on your website and monetize it with gated content, including resources like donation links and blog posts, and spare viewers from ads and content from outside platforms. It's your website, your branding, and your content. Try creating and hosting website video podcasts with a free trial at SwitcherStudio.com and see the difference your audience will love. Switcher Studio, where your video lives.
A bit of a push and shove match.
Suge was a mob Pyro.
statement is made from Suge.
Okay, so basically, this guy just told us that before that infamous video of Pac jumping this dude, there was another altercation. So tensions are high. So this was the second altercation that Pac, Pac was in maybe his first altercation, but there was second altercation between these groups, the Bloods and the Crips, right?
It's untouchable. Crip can apply as well. You can be touched, and this was set a little bit of a adversarial type of setting or environment right off the bat.
By the way, if you guys are on YouTube, I want to see people in the chat. I'm reading all your comments. You have to hit the subscribe button. Just hit the subscribe button. After 5 minutes, you guys can type. If you guys are on Twitch, hit the follow button. You guys will be able to talk. And of course, if you're on Rumble, you guys should be making an account that I can see what the fuck y'all are talking about too.
As they saw each other.
Okay. So then what happened after the fight?
After the fight, Tupac Shakur and several members of the Mob Piru, Suge's entourage, and members of Death Row, they're all kind of milling around. I don't know if you've been to the MGM, but after a fight, it's just, it's pandemonium. There's just people everywhere. And because there was already this encounter, Trayvon Lane, who had a prior confrontation with Orlando Anderson, recognized Orlando from a prior fight between the two of them, and tells Tupac, hey, be on guard, there's one of our enemies. Tupac takes it upon himself to go over and initiate a altercation with Orlando. The rest of the Mob Piru run over and jump in as kind of a gangbang.
Okay.
And
Alright.
once there was we know that Orlando shot at least once behind him and hit Buntrey's car. How many shots that Neckbone may have shot downrange, we just don't know. We don't have that information.
So Orlando's car shot back and hit the car from Suge's entourage. That's
okay.
They will get
cool. Okay, so we hear from this guy, and we're probably gonna hear from him a little bit more. Let me continue to decipher and break this down. Okay. He also talks about the autopsy. Okay, all right, cool. So remember, Pac is dead. Remember, now we're at the point of the story of why Keefe D's being arrested now. So he basically cooperated. Well, not cooperated. He did this proffer deal, right? Now, here's the thing about a proffer deal too, right? Here's the thing about a proffer deal. A proffer, which by the way, this is the whole. You remember Rollo? Remember Rollo was fighting like those allegations too? By the time I'm done with y'all will be lost in this, okay? Rollo proffer, okay? Rollo responds to snitching allegations, and it was about a proffer. So a proffer is a legal term that technically, honestly, it doesn't necessarily mean you always snitch. It means you definitely give information. And if you're one of those guys, maybe you're 1090 with it.
California Credit Union, with you wherever life takes you. Supporting you today, tomorrow.
Sometimes in these investigations, factually and also verifying what the prosecutor or whoever think they already know, or sometimes they'll even do a proffer for, hey, listen, I don't know, we'll do a proffer for you. You have some information that, again, without your knowledge of knowing that it has to do with this case, it does, but we still want to make sure you had nothing to do with the case. They'll do a proffer for that. A proffer do not mean snitching, okay? But you could snitch on a proffer, 100%. And I don't know if that's confusing, right? So going back to it, remember he does the proffer. We're getting, I don't know if I can find any more Keefe D proffer. I don't think I could find any, whatever. Okay. By the way, I'm going to play this interview. Salute to all these channels. This is Mom First. Greg, this is really good. And by the way, this is actually not too long ago. Cool. By the way, interestingly enough, Vlad who, you know, again, when these things are coming down, Vlad recently was contacted about the interviews. This is what happened. Check this out.
KVD's house gets raided.
Yep.
In Nevada.
Hey, hold on. Press the 604. I see your comment on YouTube. It says, why would you verify if they already know? It's still telling. So, in a lot of these proffer sessions of why people do it, right, it's usually almost an agreement to say, hey, listen, yo, we're not pursuing charges on, like, sometimes that person could be kind of involved. Like, if they really want to get technical, they could probably charge people for accessories or some shit like that. It's kind of like them saying, yo, if you help us verify these other situations, we're not fucking with you, right? So a proffer is usually used in a good faith scenario to usually help the defendant, or not defendant because you're probably, sometimes you can do proffer, you're not charged. It's used to help the person who's doing the proffer for whatever reason, okay? Now, here's the thing if you don't want to do a proffer. There's a lot of things that can happen. For example, Keefy D, him not doing a proffer, he was probably going to be facing drug charges really quickly. He probably also would not be getting any type of leeway when it comes to dealing with those charges. And clearly, with the cops giving him the information about what they had on him in that covert investigation, and also his lawyer heard that, they probably realized, bro, you're fucked. So him doing the proffer probably cleared up certain shit on how the cops were going to approach that charge on him, if they were at all, as long as he was truthful in the proffer. Okay? For somebody who's not charged, a proffer could prevent a bunch of other things. For example, alright, put it like this. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm the bodyguard. I'm the bodyguard for, I don't know, I'm the bodyguard for Big Meech. I'm the bodyguard for Big Meech. And Big Meech and his homies was doing mad other shit, but like Big Meech is almost like a celebrity figure, so he kind of has bodyguards, but he got goons too. They tell me, or they bring me in and say, yo, check this out. We want Big Meech. We don't give a fuck about you, okay? Here's the thing. We need to verify or whatever certain information, and we can do this via proffer, which is going to be secret. We can do this via proffer, or we're going to subpoena you and put you on the stand, whether in a grand jury or in open court, and we're gonna put you in a position where you're either gonna be seen as a snitch, or you're gonna what do you call it again? Fuck. You're gonna lie and perjure yourself. Nobody wants to be in court. Nobody wants to be in open court, right? Nobody wants to be in a grand testify in a grand jury hearing. So you might just do a proffer, and who knows? It might be like, yo. It doesn't have to be like, yo, did you see him do that? It might be anything from, yo, remember that chain that Big Meech gave you? Do you still have the chain? Now, granted, they're asking you this before they have to go do a search warrant, but if you truthfully tell them and hand it over, it will prevent all the other embarrassment, right? So again, the proffer is a tool that the government uses, federal government uses a lot, but also state and local, city, and municipal. Obviously, it's going to be a serious charge for it. Anyway, let's get back to the black sheep.
There is apparently
somebody say roundabout way of snitching. Oh my god. Okay, snitching. Okay, if we're talking about snitching, if I'm telling on you, I'm telling on you for a reason. For a reason, right? I'm telling on you that I don't get in trouble. A proffer isn't necessarily snitching. You get what I mean? In a proffer session, again, those statements can be used against you, but it doesn't mean you're giving up information that will 100% convict other people. Usually that's the aim though, but let me ask you a question. Okay, perfect. Let me ask you a question. So, there's a bodega. There's two gangs warring, let's say New York. Two gangs. We're gonna make up names for that. I don't want to put nobody in the spotlight. Gang A and Gang B are warring in New York City. One person from Gang A sees one person from Gang B in a local bodega. Shoots the guy, kills him. Okay? Shoots the guy, kills him. Alright, man. bodega owner, and they say, yo, we need that video. We know you got the video. We need the video. And rather us having to put your name in official court documents as us subpoenaing you, because you gotta remember, if now we have to subpoena you, these gang members' lawyers are gonna know, because it's gonna be in discovery, that they got the video because you were subpoenaed. You get what I mean? Or we could just fucking bring you into open court. You don't want to be into these motherfucking gang people. They're saying, just give us a surveillance tape. That might be done via proffer. You get what I'm saying? That might be done via a proffer agreement. Now, I'm giving you a basic situation where I think that would be snitching. If you're the bodega owner, you're not snitching, right? But obviously, in the more extreme cases, like for example with KPD, of course that's snitching, right? Like, yeah, like at that point, it's like, yo, tell us everybody else that was in the car, and KPD probably would think, well, a lot of these guys are out the way, so I'm not really snitching. But in KPD's case, the proffer is a snitch, okay?
Grand jury that are interviewing people as we speak.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you heard about him, about them raiding his house?
I mean, I think everyone was surprised. You know, like, the case is 27 years old. The proffer didn't even happen years ago. There's been multiple documentaries about it. They're gonna do it now? Okay. You know, the question is whether it's gonna be like a real prosecution or whether they're just gonna, hey, listen, just plead out to something slight and so we can just close the case. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Have they reached out to you about any of your footage?
I'm gonna give you the exclusive on this. They actually have tried. I've gotten a bunch of phone calls and emails and stuff like that, but I'm not cooperating with this.
Okay. Do you think it's... I mean, I'm assuming they can access the interview on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming what they want is the uncut version.
Correct.
Okay, just to see if there was anything talked about.
Correct. Yeah, but my thing, and I've always held this stance when it comes to people that interview on my platform, I'm not gonna have you come to my platform and do an interview only to then work against you with the police. Regardless of what people think that I really do, the reality of what I do, and I've had to do this before. I remember with this one time they tried to seize this one interview of someone who asked me to take it down like the next day because they were fighting a case. At the time, the lawyer asked me to take it down. They then wanted to get the footage from me, and I said no. And they were like, well, we're gonna put you on stand, whatever, we're gonna subpoena you. Like, I'm already up there. So my lawyer got involved, and they weren't able to get it. And, you know, ultimately the guy ended up losing his case anyways, but we weren't involved in it. So if you interview on my platform, if the police then try to approach me on it, I'm always...
Okay, so essentially, Vlad is admitting that Las Vegas police reached out to him with an inquiry to say, hey, listen, we know you've interviewed this idiot who's been self-snitching on himself a bunch of times.
A Domino's order carry out online or by phone and get any one-topping pizza for $7.99 each.
Introducing Astapro Allergy. Astapro is steroid-free, unlike Flonase. Astapro and go.
Right? And maybe he says certain shit off camera that you wouldn't say on camera, and you got it. So we just want everything, right? Vlad, you know, I think he's taking like a very journalistic stance, which probably is going to cost him a lot of money because anytime either the federal government or even state or local government come at you about anything, especially if you're a witness or allegedly a witness, right? Or you could have information or video that could be evidence in their case, they're gonna start twisting your arm, right? And that's why you gotta have to get a lawyer. Vlad, I think on integrity, saying, yo, first of all, I know people say I'm the feds, but I'm just gonna get a lawyer to sit and tell the feds to fuck off. Again, we gotta take him at his word, but shit. I don't think they need to know behind the scene footage for this guy, okay? Alright, cool. So let's keep it moving. So he does the proffer. I'm gonna still stick with Greg Caden. I'm gonna still stick with Greg Caden because here's the thing. He's been, and you'll notice from this interview, right? Look at this. I know he's clean shaven and shit, but look from this interview, which was years ago. By the way, we gotta get into Mob Tape. So look at his face here, and then look at his face here. You can see a little bit aged. Bro, this is a case that spanned years. So this is one of the most recent interviews this detective did. Remember, he worked on it. He's going to talk about some of the things that surrounded this situation. Here this goes.
Due to the interviews and the stuff that he's been doing recently?
So he's talking about all the interviews that Keefe D's doing. By the way, they're all doing interviews. This cop himself retired from the force, and he's doing interviews. Tupac's death has always been like this mystery, and people love Pop so much. Here we go.
I've been hearing rumors about all this. I've gotten some
Who is this guy? This is a cop who was investigating kind of what happened in Vegas. He's an LA cop though, and he had Keefe D pretty much do a proffer agreement. I feel like, come on, you gotta keep up now. He had Keefe D do a proffer agreement because he went to Keefe D and said, bro, we know you selling mad drugs, okay? And yeah.
Text messages, and some people have forwarded me some of the YouTube clips. So yeah, I'm aware of it.
Okay. Have you heard anything outside of just the rumors, or you've heard just the rumors pretty much?
Okay, let me.
Yeah, that's self-incrimination. So we offer this certain times, during law enforcement investigations.
He's explained the proffer again.
We'll say, listen, if you'll sit down and answer our questions and be honest about responding to our questions, we won't use your information against you. We'll use your information to prosecute other people. And if other people provide information that we can use against you, we most certainly will. We just won't use your own self-incriminating statements against you. That's a proffer agreement. And that gives people the liberty to go and talk about their criminal behavior without the fear of turning around and having that used against them. Because then they wouldn't cooperate with law enforcement under most circumstances. What do they have to gain? Well, in Keefe D's situation, he had a lot to gain because he was looking at trying to mitigate these drug charges that we took.
Okay, so once again, remember, he's trying to lessen these drug charges that the cops put in front of him. He's like, all right, man, if y'all sure I could just tell you what happened with the Tupac murder and y'all could never charge me for the Tupac murder, fine, I'll talk about the Tupac murder. And that's why he's on TV.
Goes against him. So him and his attorney and the U.S. attorney all agreed to do this proffer agreement. And immunity is completely different. Immunity is where you cannot prosecute somebody. You've given somebody an agreement and you can't prosecute them regardless of what evidence you build against them. Immunity is different. Immunity means you can't prosecute them. A proffer session means we can't use your statements, but we can still prosecute you if we get other information that is of such quality that we can, file charges. Makes sense? One's still prosecutable, one's not.
Gotcha. Okay, so
in that information that he provided us can be used against him and to do what they call not character would take. His own statements are enough to indict him. It doesn't take a lot of evidence to get a grand jury to, issue an indictment. It doesn't take very much at all. And but when you take what he has to say and then you can shore that up or reinforce that with other testimonial or circumstantial evidence, then it starts to validate his own confession. And that's just building the strength of the case against him.
yeah, like outside the club 662, if James saw Keefe DM that happened.
Okay, alright. So again, I'm gonna skip to another thing. So I'm gonna skip to now back to Keefe D on why he did the proffer.
Dirt Rock, who was cooperating with the police, came and did a drug deal.
Yeah.
While wearing the wire or cooperating whatever way.
Yeah. It wasn't just him, it was a few more.
What were the charges?
Here we go.
That's correct. We
This is flashback.
Get yourself an attorney.
They came and said that they want to talk to me and show me something.
Okay.
Then I went down there and there was the U.S. attorneys. Dude said he was from D.C. and he was out here to get me. All he did was threaten me. He said they're gonna take all our properties. Take all our properties. Put us in jail.
By the way, remember they're leveraging this drug charge, and by the way, there's certain, I forgot what the actual law is called. Y'all probably gonna tell me in a second. If you deal drugs at certain places, they could use a seizure law to actually take. They could take over the house that you were using as a trap house. If you're using your car as a transport for drugs, they could use that. So really, the cops is using tactics to say, you know, they're trying to threaten more than you. Like you obviously were complicit in selling drugs, but they're gonna threaten, you know, we could get your mama house, we gonna get your sister's house, we gonna get everything. You know what I mean? Yeah, somebody says a civil asset forfeiture. Yeah, so it's definitely forfeiture, yes.
Okay. So I told him all I would do was plead guilty in the first court. Get the lowest thing going. The other dude stood up and like, motherfucker, we gonna take your ass. You're not ever gonna, you're gonna tear you up. You're gonna die in here.
Well, right. Well, the charges that they were.
By the way, chat, that's an important thing. I know y'all hate when me pausing, but I gotta also think about this. I gotta make y'all think about this. You're gonna hear him say one of the reasons why he does his proffer is because they threaten him that he's gonna die in jail. They're like, motherfucker, we gonna give you some. You ain't never gonna get out. You gonna die in jail. So he opts to take this fucking proffer agreement. Keep in mind, he's 60 right now. He's 60 years old. This charge of murder, or this indictment of murder, if he gets convicted on it, which by the way, there's so much proof and his own statements will be used against him, he's definitely gonna die in jail. Don't you think they might come to him and offer him maybe another deal? Hey, if you could get somebody else locked up, maybe you'll get out, I don't know, 15 years. But you gotta give it somebody else. So that's the bigger play that might be happening.
You know, the crimes that they were charging you with would have given you life in prison.
He was about to get charged with this PCP. Had you guys gone forward with those charges, and he got convicted in court for those charges, how long would he have gotten in prison?
Life.
Life. So he was fighting a life sentence essentially. That's correct. Why
He
life?
would have gotten 25 because there's a minimum mandatory sentencing, and because of his prior drug convictions and the amount of drugs that we would have charged him with and the crimes that we would have charged him with, he would have gotten 25 to life. And that's when you're in your late 40s. That's a
PCP code. I would have pleaded guilty in the first court. I would have gotten like 10 to 20 years. The other dudes that stood up and said, man, we got you on several murders.
Ooh.
You're not ever, motherfucker. It's over. You know our conviction rate is 98%.
Thank you for that, Cannabis Kings. Thank you for that donation. Useful information. People said apparently his mama was also on that particular case. So you know it's one of those things where now they got your mom and everybody involved. You know, if you could slime your way out of this, you're gonna do it, and that's the profit.
Defense. Yeah. So they showed me first day they pulled out a thing, showed me a little bit. So it was right before the holidays. They said, enjoy your holidays. Come back here on the 9th of January and let us know your decision, what you want to do. But they was talking about, we want you to do the, what's that dude name? That Denzel played, Frank Lucas. We want you to do the Frank Lucas. So that morning on the 9th, I said, motherfucker, let me tell you something. I'm not gonna sell out none of my beers and none of that shit. I'll tell you what the fuck I did, and I know what you want. Like, yeah, you're right. They had already had all the evidence, dude. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said nothing motherfucking thing. They already knew everything. Because while I was in jail in 98, 99, they kept coming up there. They were showing me that they had me. Because they put a position where we were sitting in the cars. You know what I'm saying? They kept on showing me.
Okay. So he basically admits why he did the profit. Okay? Now, we're gonna go on a little bit different tangent. So we kind of got this Keefy D character. We got him down pat. He admits he was in the car. He threw the gun in the back seat. Apparently the guy who Tupac jumped grabs the gun, leans over, shoots Tupac. They get out of there. The girls following. The girls windshield got shot. They eventually get out of there. They repaint the car. It was a rental. They turn back in. All that shit. Great. We're caught up. He gets back to LA. Does a profit. Perfect. Cool. Now we have to get into Greg Hayden a bit. Okay? Now we gotta get into Greg Hayden a bit. Now, here we go. Alright?
Okay. Greg, thank you.
Give me 1 second. I gotta search this. Okay. Let me see. Also, we're gonna get into Reggie Wright a little bit too, but let me see. Let me just find the full interview with Greg Hayden. I'll find it. I'll find that shit. Essentially, now we're gonna hear about the conspiracy surrounding this shit. Hold on. Give me a second. Just gotta find it. Where is this Greg Hayden interview? Did I pull out the full version? Okay, I don't think I did. It's fine. Okay. Is it this? Maybe this is it.
Either had worked once or twice, and Reggie, maybe he can, maybe he has his own employee records. Guys that were going to be part of it, but once the department came out and said, listen, that's a no-fly zone.
Okay. Actually, before that, thank you. Before that, I'm gonna get to his video. Remember, I'm showing you from both sides. Keefe D, FBI Toby, Eric Von Zip. Remember I told you about the Von Zip dude? This is important. By the way, this interview was 5 months ago on Black. Here we go.
Well, in fact, there was the rumor that after Pac got killed, Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah. The fan said that too. He said that shit actually happened. Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money
I heard
to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give them, but he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy would be in prison now. Money for hire, a murder for hire. So thank God. It's just a true story. I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been a murder for hire, and Puffy would be locked up.
Yeah, they said he's a dirty motherfucker. Yeah, he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a murder for hire or something, you know what I'm saying? The FBI said that. So the FBI told you to say that dirty motherfucker, yeah.
So let's add this other element, right? Keefe D gets out of his drug charge by doing this proffer. He gives up information on what happened in the Tupac situation, the Tupac death in Vegas, right? Now they have that information, but honestly, that information doesn't get to subsequent arrests because those guys end up dying. There's another angle of this. Remember I told you who gave him the gun? The person who gave Keefe D the gun that he threw in the back seat that was used to kill Pac was somebody named Eric Von Zip. Okay? Now Von Zip was not a dude from the West Coast. He was actually from the East Coast. And that is where there is conspiracies and theories of people believing that Diddy may have been involved. Now, the rumor is that Diddy had $1 million bounty up on Tupac. By the way, these are rumors. This is not something I'm claiming as a fact. These are conspiracy theories. By the way, these guys have spoken on it. And Keefy D saying that through his legal dealings, and he said he got interviewed by the FBI, he says, and I think they told him this in an effort to try to get him to implicate Diddy or implicate Bonds and Diddy. They told him, probably trying to antagonize him, yeah, remember that $1 million you thought you was going to get from the hit? Well, Diddy did pay out that money, but he gave it to Von Zip. Von Zip, I think he kept it, right? So, again, this is where the story gets bigger.
Yeah, I told you the Zip kept that money.
So you say Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody can cross you. The last one to know every fucking thing, even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass. You just don't know. Even the dudes you ride on the car with every day, like a low jack. What the fuck?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Zip had a history of ripping people off.
Yeah. He never ripped me off.
Well,
otherwise he wouldn't have.
Did he technically do? I mean, if he kept the money.
Now, I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of Eric Von Zip. And it's probably very interesting to figure out when he was alive and when he died. Is this him? Is this him? Yeah, I think this is him. So this was like the middle guy. Eric Von Zip. Okay. Now, here's why, again, this is interesting, right? So, this is interesting, and I'm gonna now bring in somebody else into this conversation. Gene Deal. Gene Deal worked as a security guard for Bad Boy back in the day. So, I know I'm introducing the people, a lot of people to y'all. Hopefully y'all are getting this. I know if you know the story, like I'm being slow, but I'm being slow for the new people. Puffy's old security guard fell out with Puffy and has been doing interviews. Okay? He's also commented about some of these things. And this is what he now says about this Eric Von Zip guy. Remember, that's the guy who allegedly gave the Glock to Keefy D. That gun killed Tupac. Also, apparently the FBI tells Keefy D, yeah, you know Diddy paid out $1 million for that, but Von Zip took that $1 million check and ran with it. That's why you ain't getting paid. And Keefy D said he never got a fucking dime. Here we go.
Well, Keefy talked about, various meetings he had with Puff. And there's words thrown out, according to Keefy, that Puff said, well...
By the way, Keefy the new Puff.
I'll pay $1 million to make this problem go away and so forth. And then, after, Tupac passed away, there was a rumor that a payment went, from Puffy's camp, and it was supposed to go to Keefy D and the Southside guys. And according to TK Kirkland, Zip got that money and he kept it for himself. Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefy and then, yes. But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire.
Okay. Let's get to the bodyguard, what the bodyguard is saying.
Yeah, I could talk about it. I mentioned it on Doggy Diamond platform, and I told MREC and some other people, if anything happened to me, this is all what happened. They got the whole tape. They got everything that that went down or whatever like that I said, and I've already said it. What happened is that you had to understand who Zip was. You know, Zip was a mastermind, a gangster, a pimp, a hustler, and he had more game than Kellogg's had flakes, brother. You understand? So, just for instance, before I break this check thing down to you, Zip used to do shit like that. He had 20 guys in the club with him, right? And he gonna say, you know, we got all these girls, you got chicks, we gonna get 20 bottles of champagne, 5 bottles of Grey Goose or Belvedere, and we gonna get 5 bottles of Hennessy. Now, he'll tell all 20 of the guys, I need like 400-500 from each one of y'all. You understand? Because they know in the club bottles are $200 and better. You know what I mean? So we can drink all night and, you know, we can show out the girls like that. Boom. Zip already went to the manager, and most managers and people in the clubs thought he was Puff's uncle.
Okay, so he's giving an example of why this Zip dude is, you know, is basically a finesse. Okay, let's talk about the check. Let's get to the check talk.
Because ain't nobody took him to court. Right. Finessing people. Finessing people. I told you he had more game than Kellogg had flakes, man. You know what I'm saying? He can talk a well out of water. So now, after Pac got killed, and we heard about, you know, somebody got a check or something like that. Zip came up on my man's spot, because, you know, he used to always try to, you know, show him new cars and everything. Every time he got something new, he would come on the block, our block, and show it to us, either to the game room or on the block when we was cooking or whatever we were doing. And he came up there, and I heard TK Kirkland interview with Joe. He said he got a check for $5. It wasn't no check for no $500,000. Zip had a check in his right pocket, right back pocket, and that check was for $1 million. He said he got the, Jimmy Henchman got him the check from Barry Hankerson or something like that. Barry Hankerson, I think, it was a leader, uncle or manager or something like that, gave him that check for Black Ground Records. That's what he said. Follow the paper. I didn't know he had a record label. I didn't know he had a record company, Black Ground label, but that's what he said he got the check for. You understand? I'm not the only one that's seen the check. There's other people that I'm not going to mention their name, but
So Diddy's bodyguard is saying that he's seen Von Zip with $1 million check, but according to why he had the check, it was supposed to be for a record deal or a record label. Interesting. But I guess he's surprised that he's like, he don't know this guy to be any type of record label type of guy.
they know, you know, they know well because we already discussed it and talked about it. You understand? And I told people that I was going to let them know, let the people know. He had a check for $1 million. But he said that Jimmy Henchman got it for him from records. I didn't know he had a record company.
Well, ultimately, Keefy D and them never got the check, which
Then let's go back to the detective who's gonna help fill in all the story, because we got to figure out what's just hearsay, nonsense, and what has some merit. And this detective is pretty good in kind of, because you know he had to do the legwork because he was a cop. He had to do the legwork to verify some
I'm off. Peace out. Bro, I'm just not even, like, I'm watching this video too. I'm just playing for fun. Peace out.